Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Demon Slayer. Last time we had Tonight. Tonight, what's tonight? Tonight on Saturday? No, wait. I don't know. I'm trying to make a joke and nothing's formulating. Probably because it's first thing in the morning and I'm not actually funny anyway, so yeah. Basically, Zenitsu was taken, as well as the only, well, at least the only good Oiron that we've seen. And Tanjiro encountered Daki. What's his name? Uzui. Uzui might be on his way, as well as Inosuke. But Tanjiro is currently in the middle of the fight. He managed to save the good Oiron from her cloth attack stuff. And then, yeah, he's now going to fight an upper ranked demon. So things are going well. Also, he had to drop Nezuko because one of his straps broke. So he put Nezuko's box down and said, "Hey, don't get out of here unless you're threatened." Which is very confident. It's very confident of him because at no point has he not needed help in a fight. But let the boy try. He's trying. He's really trying to. He wants to live up, be the Hashira, He wants to live up to that level of power, And yeah, sometimes you just gotta do it by yourself. But at the same time, it's nice to have your sister with her exploding blood with you, so I'm sure she'll join the fight at some point. Anywho, like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure. So why don't we just go ahead and jump right into this episode of Demon Slayer. Here we go. I don't know if it's a secret that he practices polygamy. I think I got the gist of that. But I will say it's an interesting I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I feel like you don't see that. Well, you just don't. You don't see that often in media, I don't know. Maybe I'm sure there's, 10 million harem anime that end up on that. Or maybe they don't. I don't know. But at the same time, it's like, I definitely don't see that too much in media. I will say it's nice how happy they are. Like, they're a nice, happy family, The three of them clearly get along, and they all love him, and he loves all of them. It's a nice family that the four of them are in. I do also like just the differences. I'm glad they're not just three hot women, and we didn't get too much of the first one at the beginning of the episode because she's just sick and recovering from the poison. But the other two, I like how I like the differences between them. One of them is, she's always sort of ready to throw down and stuff, whereas the other one is, the third one, is kind of meek, she's clearly fit, but she doesn't have a fighter's spirit, Like, she's doing her best because she wants to do the right thing and, help Tengen, but she's clearly not exactly cut out for fighting, and she's more of the emotional one of the group, so that's kind of funny. I like that. And yeah, I just like that it's like, because you could so easily make it to where it's like, here's this guy, this playboy, he's got 3 wives and stuff. It's like, I'm just glad it's a nice, good relationship, So yeah, so that was interesting. I enjoy the dynamic between the four of them, definitely. Even though they do also have a sort of, master-servant kind of relationship, just on the fact that, he's a Hashira, he's a male shinobi, and, like that, like, it's not a, I don't know, I guess it's just not, like, a very equal partnership, but at the same time, at the same time, he treats them well, so I don't know. Anywho, so interesting stuff in this one. Going to the fight, Tanjiro versus Daki. This is an interesting thing because I feel like I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen a show that not that it changes its power system, but just the main character is basically just changing up his entire moveset now. It's like he was trained for 2 years in water breathing, and he just cannot get it. He cannot go with the flow, basically. So it's like, okay, he's gonna have to go with sun breathing, Hinokami Kagura, of which he has made some new moves, But, yeah, it's an interesting thing that, like, I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of other anime with power systems. Like, I guess maybe the closest I could think is in My Hero Academia when Deku starts using shoot style. And, he's like, oh, I'm going to focus on my kicks because I screwed up my arms so badly. But he still uses his arms sometimes. It's just that he tries not to throw them at 100%, He's trying to use the rest of his body, basically. So that's kind of the closest that I can think of. But I don't know, I'm trying to think like okay, I'm reading One Piece right now. I'm reading the manga very slowly, but I'm reading One Piece, and I feel like it would be like if Luffy, and again, this is on no knowledge. I know there's some big transformation that just happened in One Piece or something, but I don't really know any of the details. I saw a design, I thought that kind of looks goofy, but whatever. But to me, it would be like if Luffy suddenly was like, this whole stretching thing is not working. What if I use what Buggy used, and I'll split my body apart and use that instead? Because that'll work better. And it's like, what? Now, again, I'm sure there's going to... Because I know that, in One Piece, things are going to get crazy. He's going to get super, super powerful, and that's great. I'm looking forward to getting to that point. But I still expect there to be a base level of... He stretches, That's the whole thing. So, that's the whole basis of his power is stretching. Anything else from that should be in addition to that, which I did think Hinokami Kagura kind of was for Tanjiro, but it really does seem that he's like, no, I can't use water, Which I guess does kind of make sense, and it does go into the whole thing of his Black Blade, where Rengoku said people who have a Black Blade generally don't know what to specialize in, they don't know what forms to use most of the time. So it makes sense that while, yes, he was trained in water, it would make sense that he would move to sun breathing, especially when sun breathing is the origin of all the breathing types, So that kind of makes sense. But, one thing I just thought of now, because of the whole thing of he can't, Black Blade users can't, they can't decide on one thing. It would be kind of interesting if he sort of took something from every, maybe even just every user he meets, Maybe he learns just a little bit of beast breathing, or thunder breathing, or, sound breathing now here, or flame breathing, which he kind of did. He some of his moves that he is using with Hinokami Kagura seem to be moves inspired by Rengoku. So it definitely feels like maybe that's sort of where he's gonna go. Is maybe he gets different things, Maybe he just sort of melds it all into one thing, which makes sense because all those things originate from sun breathing. I don't know. But it's just an interesting thing of, he kind of is now... I don't think he's fully abandoned water breathing, but it also is just kind of weird because it feels like he never had this problem before with water breathing, But I guess, we have to think about the times he's broken his sword, Well, he's only broken his sword twice. One was against Rui, and that was before he used Hinokami Kagura. And then the other time was only just when he lost his sword after he threw it at Akaza, you know? So I guess there's that. Like, if he always had Hinokami Kagura, would his sword have broken against Rui, you know? I guess there's sort of a question. But, I mean, think about when he was fighting the Arrow Demon, you know? And he was pulling out literally all 10 of his water-breathing techniques in order to face him. And he did that for like a solid 5 minutes or so. He was just switching through each and every one of them just to survive, you know? So, yeah, I don't know. I don't see it as... Like, it seems just kind of weird that it's like, you know, he's looking and it's like, oh, my blade is already chipped? Oh, that's because I'm inadequate. And it's like, well, but what happened? Because you used water breathing with that original sword for a good while until Rui did damage to it. Or is it just that once he fights one of the 12 Kizuki, then his ineptitude, you know, his ineptitude with water breathing, that's where it really starts to hinder him, you know? I guess it could be something like that. That, you know, if he was fighting normal demons, even, you know, Drum Demon, Arrow Demon, you know, ones like them, it wouldn't break his sword, per se. But, or it wouldn't chip at his sword. But, because he fights upper rank demons, and not even upper rank, just members of the 12 Kizuki, like Rui, like the train demon, I don't remember his name, and now Daki, you know? Maybe that's it. I don't know. It just seems like such a strange thing that we're basically just kind of giving up on water breathing, what we spent most of the first season using, you know? Like, a majority of the episodes up to this point have been water breathing, so... I don't know. It's an interesting thing, but maybe... I don't know. Maybe we'll go into it a bit more later, you know? So, yeah. And then we had the whole thing of Hinokami Kagura. He basically needs to give himself a fever, because that's when he fights, you know, better. Which is sort of... That is pretty much what they said about total concentration breathing, you know, is that when you really do that, it, like, excites the blood, and it raises your body temperature, and it allows you to fight at, like, you know, it allows you to fight like a demon, is what they originally said about it, so I guess that does make sense, but it helps him with the strikes, specifically, because Hinokami Kagura takes so much, you know, toll on him, so yeah, interesting stuff there. And then we also got Inosuke in the lair, dealing with the worm belt, which was funny, and he did manage to save 2 of the wives. I wish I could figure out their names already. Like, I don't know which one is which, basically, but yeah, so that was interesting, and they did save Zenitsu as well, who unfortunately still, like, I doubt Inosuke brought his clothes, you know, his core uniform, but at least, see, and you don't want to say Zenitsu is, like, up, because he's not awake, and that's the point, you know, is that he's still asleep, which allows him to use Thunderclap and Flash, you know, so yeah, and then we did have a good moment between Tengen and the 2 wives, so that was good. Yeah. I guess that's pretty much it. Good episode, and I'm curious to see where we are going next time. But that is basically it. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my Demon Slayer reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.